G'day viewers, welcome to another video. Okay, I've run out of copperas, which is basically ferrous sulfate. For those who don't know, is also known as iron sulfate, and I need to make some more. I showed you last time how to make it with scraps of iron, but today I'm going to make it with copper sulfate. I've got some rainwater in the kettle at the moment boiling, and I need to add that the rainwater has not been on my roof. It's only been collected straight into plastic drums, clean plastic buckets from the rain, because otherwise it could pick up contaminants off the roof. So I'm going to put the 200 grams I've got left of this into the beaker with some hot water. You don't need hot water, but I'm going to use hot water because I'm going to heat the next stage anyway. You only need just enough water until the copper sulfate is dissolved. That's why I'm not going to pre-guess. So once the water's boiled, we'll get that started. Alrighty, so the water's just boiled. I've, as you can see, put the 200 milligrams, or 200 grams, sorry, of copper sulfate into the beaker, and I'm just going to add the water bit by bit until it fully dissolves. I think hot water would just speed it up, but I'm going to be using the heat after this anyway for the next step. If you can't have access to hot water at the time, cold water should be fine. This stuff's pretty water soluble anyway. I think last time I made, I probably put too much water in. I would have liked it to be a little bit not so watery, so that's why I'm not going to pre-guess this time. I don't know if you can see in the video, but there is some still floating around in there. It's definitely a clean beaker, so there's no contaminants. The camera keeps fogging up with the steam, so I'll just let it sit for a bit. Okay, it looks like it's all dissolved. Just a couple of little bits, but that's alright. I don't know what that black thing is floating around. I'll fish that out in a minute. Probably came out of the kettle. Although I did clean the kettle first, but I must have missed a little bit. Alright, so it's on to the next step. Alrighty, now anyone who's seen my video on the reactivity series of metals, or anyone who's heard of it before, would know that when you put one certain metal into solution, it drops something else out of solution. So what we're going to do to drop the copper out of the copper sulfate solution is to put steel in. Just like we did before with the scrap iron, this time I've got steel wool, which, you know, it's a bundle of it here, but I've separated it into smaller bits because you only want to put a small bit in at a time. This is the steel wool that I've bought. This is another bag, so when this is all gone I can open this bag, and you'll see pretty much straight away, especially at first, it'll dissolve to nothing. This all go into solution. This, trying to do one-handed here, this piece here for starters will just go straight into solution within a matter of minutes. It was helped before when I did it because it was nice and hot, but it's already starting to react. And so you just do this bit by bit. Once all that's gone into solution, then you put the next piece, and so on. I don't know how well you can see, but there's copper on the bottom there. The steel wool that's in there is dissolved. Go in with the next piece. Normally you'd make a bigger batch than this. Last time I made 300 grams, 300 mils I should say. No, 300 grams of the copper sulfate. So it was a lot more copper rich than it is now, obviously, and everything dissolved a lot faster than it is now. But it's still working. So just keep adding it slowly and as it dissolves. This is a better way for me. It's faster and much easier and less time consuming, less effort involved. Not all those fiddly little bits of steel, having to break those transformers up first and all that kind of thing. And then at the end of this, I'm left with a pile of copper, which is good for me because it goes in my stock pot to help drop the metals out. So it's a win-win all round. And once all this is dissolved, it's pretty much ready to go. It'll change colour from the blue that it is now, and it'll go clearish and then sort of go greenish. And I learnt from last time, don't go past the green, it'll start going to a browny colour. Once it gets to the green, as long as all the steels are dissolved and no more steel will dissolve, then you're pretty much ready to go. If you want to preserve it so it lasts longer, because it does have a shelf life, you can then evaporate it down to crystals, and you can store the crystals just as we did before, and just reconstitute some when you need them, or put the crystal straight in solution. But this will be fine. There's only a little bit here, so this will go straight into a bottle when it's finished, and I'll use this long before it goes off. So I can see that steel is almost gone. There's just a tiny little bit left, little bits and pieces in there. So in with the next one. Sorry about this, just hard one-handed. In we go. Poke it down, make sure it's all covered. You can see instantly it rusts. See, well, not rust, but it's the copper coming straight out instantly. It gives it that rusty look, but it's the red copper. So I've got the heat on and it's starting to go faster now that it's heating up. I think you can see the steel wool in there. So the copper's starting to really build up now. Just a few little whispery bits of wire left in there, so I'll put some more in. So Luke Kingy was the guy that gave me directions on how to make this. This is the same guy that taught me how to make the other stuff. I definitely prefer this way. The only difference is, I suppose, the copper sulfate costs like $13, whereas the metal from a transformer is free. So it depends which way you look at it. You know, if money's not a problem, then this is definitely the way to go. If you're trying to do it on cheap, then the transformers is the way to go. You can see the reaction starting to take off now that it's warming right up. It's the reaction of the metals going into solution and dropping out of solution. That's why I love chemistry. You see how it's going from a blue to a greenish colour? Through the camera it's looking blue still, but out here it's looking green. So I like a nice emerald green, which is pretty much what we want. So it's just a matter of now waiting until no more metal dissolves. I wish you could see the colour that I can see, because I'm looking through both. I can see the phone, it's all blue, and in real life it's all green. Looks like I could open the packet up, put some more in. Every time I put some more in there, get a nice big reaction happening. Look at all those bubbles. It's happening a lot quicker now. I definitely needed to warm up more. When I first put it on here, it was like cold. I was waiting for the heat to warm up. Almost all gone, that piece, just that last little bit just here. I love seeing the reaction. All this copper. You watch this, I'll put some more in there and see the reaction. Wow. That's awesome. You see how much copper is building up on the bottom. So knowing the reactivity series of metals is it's not a big part of this hobby, but it's definitely handy to know. Like this is, you know, for this example, is knowing how to do this kind of thing. This is just one of many reactions that take place in the course of our hobby. And it's good to know that that copper then goes into another solution to drop more metals, and it's like a big circle. And when you get to the end of your stock pot and you put iron in to drop the copper back out, the copper goes back into solution again. It's crazy, it goes in a big circle. I love it. It's definitely reacting now like I remembered it doing last time. So this is the key, is to have it on hot. And it's taking a lot longer now for the steel to dissolve. Those other pieces are only taking a matter of minutes. And even though there's still a good reaction happening, it's that last piece is just taking a little bit longer. It didn't take anywhere near as much water as I did last time, but I had, like I said, a larger volume of this last time. So it works out just over 500 mils of solution for 200 mils of copper sulfate crystals. Some of you are probably wondering, why do you bother making it? I know there's a lot of people in America and so on that can just go and buy copperas. I think I mentioned in my last video where I made copper sulfate that I can't, where I made copperas, I can't buy it here. And then there's some people on the east coast of Australia, like Luke Kingy for example, who have found a lawn food and moss killer that is pretty much the same thing as the copperas brand, but I can't even buy that. There's a difference, something to do with the trading laws. They can buy things over in their state that I can't buy here. So ferrous sulfate pretty much is what you're looking for, or iron sulfate crystals. I have found a lawn food that's 50% ferrous sulfate, but that's not enough. You need 90%, probably more. The better, the more the better. So I keep looking when I go to garden centres and hardware shops, but so far I haven't found anything close to 90% even. So that's why I make it, for those who keep asking. Definitely going a green colour now, and this last bit of metal is not really dissolving, it's reacting, but I'll say that's going to be the last piece I put in. You can definitely see the greenish through the phone now. The greenish colour. So pretty much once those bubbles stop, I know there's no more reaction. I still see some fine bubbles happening in there. So I'll wait till they die down, and then it's just a matter of filtering the solution, because you don't want the iron going into your gold mix. You just want the juice. So I'll filter out all the iron, the copper, steel, wool, whatever. Just a few little stubborn bubbles. I keep stirring it up in case there's more happening somewhere else in the beaker. There's definitely a lot of copper in there now. Yeah, this last bit of steel wool doesn't seem to be doing too much. I'd say we're at the end of it. I'll just wait a few more minutes for those bubbles to stop. Alright, so the bubbles have pretty much stopped now, and it's starting to go that dark brown colour, so I want to stop there. So I'll take it off the heat, and now I'm going to fish out as much of the steel wool as I can, because I don't want the steel wool in my stock pot. I only want the copper. I'll pull this out. Alright, so I've got the steel wool taken out. Now I'm just going to filter out that copper, and we're ready to go. I've got the solution filtering, and you can see how much copper left in the bottom of that. It's pretty good. I'll rinse that into the filter once this has gone down. And you see the colour of the liquid coming out. It's a nice emerald green. That's exactly what we're looking for. Awesome. Okay guys, I've put the solution, now that it's filtered, into a bottle, an airtight bottle, and that's the end of it. It's done now, ready to use. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.